right? So it's a mock response. Let's start with the mock. Later you do data JPA integration, right? So we are going to get the live data. So it's just a simple in application.properties file. We will add the database related things, right? I hope you installed. Everybody installed MySQL. So let's do configure those MySQL details, right? And convert our save request to save mobile request and do the validations. Load the validations from messages start property. Okay. Yes. So this is what we have to do. And next thing is yeah. So controller class, all methods should return response.java. Create one response.java, right? Return this, right? So return this response, right? So return the response. So you should I mean all methods should return the response.java, right? So and also add global exception handling for which takes care about validation exceptions also, and add a Swagger open API, right? And add a filter. We already discussed, right? Filter. So AOP part alone we have not yet completed. So this we will discuss tomorrow, right? Today and tomorrow. I think we will be able to. I mean, you will be able to do AOP processing also. But meanwhile, you complete this filtering logic, right? So using specifications and query, right? One try one example with query and one example with specifications, right? One example with query and one example with specifications. Next, we will complete AOP today, tomorrow. So Sunday you can integrate AOP also. I'm also sharing the data which has to be inserted into database, right? Which has to be inserted into data. So maximum, as per my estimation, it will take 6 hours. Like somebody, they would be doing for the first time this Spring Boot application may take more time, like 9 hours. So this weekend, right? Weekend you should be dedicated for, I mean, Saturday 3 hours and Sunday 3 hours, totally 6 hours. So you should complete mobile service with all the features till now, whatever we discussed, right? Spring features, Spring Boot features, controller service, JPA integration, right? JPA integration and validations, global exception handling, Open API integration, writing a filter to log response time, request time, right? And filtering logic, right? Filtering uh, all mobiles, filtering all mobiles API, right? So we should do all these functionality. Okay, it's not we, it's you. Saturday and Sunday, Saturday and Sunday. You should sit 3 hours and you should complete all these features. If you are already doing on daily basis, good. You can enjoy and you can enjoy your weekend. But till now, whoever not started or whoever completed partially, they should complete all these things. Okay. So I already told you, until you do practice, until you do hands-on, nothing. I mean, there is no use of joining this training. Okay, I can directly say there is no use. I mean, you can learn, but going, I mean, you may not get best out of this practice session training, right? So I recommend everybody, please do complete this assignment. Okay, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, Sunday and Saturday, 2 days, Sunday and Saturday, 2 days. Yeah, so today and tomorrow we will discuss about AOP. Today and tomorrow we will discuss about AOP. Okay, so you can integrate AOP also. You can integrate AOP also. It's an easy thing, not that much complicated. It's an easy thing. Okay, so I will email these details to you. Okay, so this weekend plan. Okay, this weekend plan. So next weekend I will give one more assignment. You have to complete country mobile. Okay, you have to complete country service microservice, right? Country module. And I will also show you how to extract common functionalities into a common project, and how we can create a parent project and how we can move the modules into parent. Okay, so next weekend also you will have one more assignment. country service microservice you have to create. Okay, country service microservice you should create. And so by next weekend you should have two microservices with all these features. Okay, two minimum two microservices. So this weekend you should complete mobile service. Okay, I will send an email. So this is what is assignment for you guys on this weekend. Okay. Yes. Let's come into the session. So any questions till now whatever we discussed, or on any questions on assignment? If you are silent, I think you are really happy about the assignment. Anshuman, Abhi, Chintesh, sorry, Anshuman, Abhiram, Chintesh, Hari, Jega. First of all, am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, Sunil, you are audible.
Answer. Answer.
Everybody is silent, so I got out. Okay, so this is what is your weekend workout.
Yeah, I saw already. For me, 70% is done, so I will complete it.
Very good. Okay, but make sure everyone should complete this assignment. Okay, everyone should complete. Okay, if you are completed partially, finish it up. If you are not started, start and complete it. If you are completed, then enjoy the weekend. Okay. Yes. So from today, we're gonna learn a new concept called AOP. Okay. So AOP abbreviation is aspect oriented programming. How we have OOP, object oriented programming. So this is another paradigm, right? So it's completely different. Okay. Actually, this is not a new feature with Spring. So the owner for AOP is actually Eclipse. You know, aspect oriented programming is introduced by Eclipse. Right, so it's introduced in Java, right? Aspect oriented programming is available in other technologies also, but owner for this aspect oriented programming is Eclipse, right? It's actually introduced by Eclipse. So Eclipse is the owner for that. Okay, so this is the team who introduced this concept. Okay, so it's actually kind of I mean, so usually we will really get confused with the terminology, you know, the naming convention and the words we use, little confusion. But when we go to the program, you really feel, oh, these things are this much easy, like that you really feel. Okay, so coding is easy, programming is easy, but the concepts are new words, right? So these are new words, so that's why uh, it may confuse us, I mean, you a bit. But anyway, we don't go. I mean, we don't do any theory. We directly jump into the coding and we directly start uh, writing the code, right? So let's directly jump into the code. Okay, so we will learn this concept by doing hands-on directly. Okay, and in between I will cover a few theory concepts like what is aspect, what is point cut, what is advice, what is join point. Okay, you really feel admired, like how we gonna learn these things. You know, if I directly start theory, for sure you will get bored and you will get confused also. Okay. Yes, now let's Eclipse is opening just for a moment. Okay, when I ask the question, please try to give the response. Let's make the session interactive, no more theory. As I already said, right, it's no more theory. Okay, I'm not going to show you the existing code which is written. Let's create a fresh project, right? Let's create a fresh project. Let's create a Spring startup project, fresh project. I will mark it as demo one, AOP demo one, right? Or else AOP demo new, right? So our project is AOP demo new. So Spring Boot AOP demo project, right? Spring Boot AOP demo project. Okay. Next, let's add dev tools. Let's add web. Yeah, there is no dependency. There is no separate dependency called AOP, right? So there is no separate dependency. Okay, it's not required. So web is enough. Let's do next. Next to go and do the finish. Okay, let's go and do the finish. So I would like to run this as a standalone application because AOP is part of core. You know, Spring AOP is part of Spring core. So let's go to our core project where we have core documentation. It's part of Spring framework, right? So let's directly open uh, core documentation, right? So it's AOP is part of core. So AOP is submodule to core. So we will run with like a standalone application. So to run any AOP project, AOP program, we don't need any server. Our main Java main method itself, Java main thread itself can able to run AOP. Right? It's part of core. It's another modules, right? Yesterday we learned validation. Validation is part of core. Expression language. So in between we are using some expression languages, right? Curly braces, dollar, hash symbols, right? So those are the expression languages. So that is also part of core. Okay, so yeah, AOP is part of core. So let's go to our new project. So let's remove the web dependency. Let's use normal starter itself, right? So let's run project by using normal starter main method application. So if you, when you remove this, I'm not sure whether the AOP dependencies are going to be added or not. Let's go to effective form and check is AOP added or not. Yeah, starter, right? Boot starter AOP is added. Boot starter AOP is added. So AOP features are available, right? With plain starter itself. Now let's go and see what is the requirement actually. What is the requirement? Why should we use AOP, right? So let me quickly create a simple class, very simple class, right? Hello world. But in this world, whoever starts any new program, they always starts with hello world. So let's do the same thing. Let's create a method public which returns a string, right? So say hello. Say hello. Very simple example, right? A Java, a person who is new to Java also can understand this, right? So we just simply return say hello method. Hello, my dear friend. Welcome to Spring AO, right? Spring AO. Now we should return some string, right? So let's return this string as is. Let's return this string as is. Where is that string? Okay, let's do copy and return the same string back. Okay, so it's a string, so it should be enclosed in double quotes. Let's do that. Okay, a simple class which says say hello, and it's going to print hello message in the console. It's going to return that, right? It's going to return that message back. So let's call this method, right? So let's call this method by using Spring. Yeah, we are doing this for so many days. Let's annotate with component, right? So it's better to use command line runner to run a application like a standalone application. So going to be public command line runner start. Yeah, so I would like to get hello world be injected here. Right, so let's say HW. and let's return the command line object as a lambda expression. So here let's call hello world dot say hi. Right, so we are going to get some string and we are printing it on the console. Good. Okay, so this is nothing new, right? Nothing new. We are doing this for so many days and very basic fundamental we are doing here. We created a hello world and object by using Spring, and we are calling a method on that. Okay. Yes. For example, this looks okay. Now my question, right here is my question. Before saying hello world, okay, before saying Spring hello world, right? Spring AOP hello world, I will say what is the prerequisite for this training? Java, right? So you must know Java. I want to print one more message, right? I want to print one more message, right? So let's comment this. So before this method, before this hello world, hello my dear friend, welcome to Spring AOP printing on the console, I would like to say you must know Java, right? So that is a prerequisite for Spring or for this training. So I want to print that message. So what should I do? So I don't want to do it here. I want to do that anywhere. It's fine. So there are multiple ways I can do. So you can choose any one of the approach, right? So I want to print one more statement saying that you must know Java. So what should I do here? Come on, guys. Very simple question, right?
Either we have to write one more sysout on top of that say hello,
Yes.
or
Yeah. So I can say
using AOP also we can.
no. Let's not talk about AOP. Let's do it in Java itself. You must know Java. Let's not talk about AOP in Java itself. Okay, this is one way. If I run this code, yes, I will get this message printed on the console. Good. Okay,
Otherwise,
fine.
write a new method in that.
Yeah, so we can also do this here. Yes, we can also do this here. So these two ways we can do it. Good. Okay, so you can print it here or you can print it there. Both are same. So if I do follow like this, for example, tomorrow I will add one more method called say hello one. Let's say hello world, say hello one. So before calling this say hello also, right? I'll write one more method, say hello. Then I will say, hey, can you print for one more time? You must know Java. Then what you will do? You will copy paste for one more time, right? So if you would like to do something, print something before executing this method, so if I say, can you print this message for one more time? You will copy paste it and you say it's done. Then I will say, can you do it for one more time? Okay, I have added one more method, say hello to. Can you do it for one more time? Yeah, you will say, okay, just copy paste this line. Right? You will just copy paste this line. So whenever you go and call, say hello one, say hello or say hello one, say hello two, say hello three. So what is going to happen? Every time a new, right? Every time that message will be printed, right? So every time that message is going to print, right? Every time that you must know Java, will be printed, right? But I'll say that without touching my method, right? Without touching my method, can you please do it? Don't touch my method. Say hello one, say hello two. Yeah, I know you are too intelligent. What you will do, you'll go to command line runner and you will put it here. Right? Command line runner and you will put it here. Control F11. Yes. You say, hey, it's working. We are getting expected out. Without touching my business class, without touching my hello world class, still I can get it. But what I will do, tomorrow I will add one more method, say hello 3, and I don't inform you, I have added a method, right? I don't inform you, I have added a method, right? So if you just call say hello 3, this time what will happen? That message won't be printed. To get that message printed, you should do this, right? You should do this copy paste for one more time, then only you will get it. If I don't inform you have added a new method, then you won't do that, then that thing won't be printed, right? So you must know Java won't be printed for say hello 3, right? So it's something is missing. So whenever, right, especially we are more relating to AOP now. Whenever you would like to do something, it can be anything, right? When I say do something, it can be anything. Okay. On the below cases, there are many places we use AOP. One is before method execution, right? Before method execution, or when method throws, right? When method throws some exception, right? The exception can be anything. Okay, it can be throwable also, including throwable, or else when method executed, right? So successfully, when the method is executed successfully, or else when method throws exception or executed successfully. It's a combination of two. It can throw exception or it can execute successfully. Then both the places, like finally blank, some kind of finally blank, or else I wanted to, yeah. So yeah, these four are important, right? So when you would like to execute something before your method execution, or else when there is an exception thrown, or when there is no exception thrown, or when there is an exception exception might thrown or might not thrown, right? So both scenarios, like finally, right? So you should, if your requirement is something like this, right? If your requirement is something like this, right, then we can use AOP. That too, especially Spring AOP, because Spring supports only method execution, right? So you can do variable, you can do constructor, you can do class, but right, by using aspect, you can do all those things before executing constructor, after executing constructor, right? Constructor execution, some exception, you can do it, but Spring AOP doesn't support that, right? By using Eclipse aspect oriented programming, you can do whatever you wanted to do, right? Before constructor execution, after constructor execution, right? Before constructor execution, after constructor execution, yes, you can do whatever you would like to do. But Spring AOP supports only the method execution. You can't do Spring AOP for constructor. You can't do Spring AOP for class. You cannot do Spring AOP for variable, right? So Spring AOP supports only for methods, only for methods. But still, we have a couple of requirements with specific to method, right? Before method execution, you would like to do something. When method throws some exception, you would like to do something. When method executed successfully, you would like to do something. When method throws exception or may not throw exception, that time you would like to do something, right? So if your requirement is something like this, right? If your requirement is something like this, then you can ask me, can you tell me one real-time scenario where we do, like when method throws some exception or not throw some exception, when method executed successfully, when method throws some exception. I'll tell you, there are so many real-time scenarios. So when a method throws some exception, you would like to log for future, right? Log exception for future analysis purpose. Can happen, right? So if you would like to reduce the error count on your application, yes, you can log every exception thrown by every method, put it in a table, and you generate some report and you focus on it, right? So why that exception coming? What is the fix we can apply? So might be like when you started, you might get some 1,000 exceptions. Once you started fixing it, like in the next couple of months, that count will go down, right? Obviously, the count will go down. So you can make your application, right? You can make your application as error interoperable, right? So more resilience, right? More resilience. So that is the place where we can use when there is an exception come, you can log and you can do something, or you can send an email also, right? Email notification to that corresponding team. the team will look into the issue and they can fix that issue, right? Yes. And another thing, when there is a method executed successfully, so you can log the time, right? How much time that method took, right? How much time that method took. You can log the method execution time. For example, if any method is taking more time, what you can do, you can, if any method is taking more time, what you can do, you can easily go to that particular method. Instead of checking all methods where the issue is coming, you can go to that particular method and you can reduce the, I mean, you can check why it's taking time, right? So when the method executes successfully, so this actually fits here. With exception or without exception, it's fine. We want to know how much time that method is taking, right? So log execution time. So if any method is taking more time, you can look into that code where exactly is causing the issue, and you can try to apply some solution. Okay. And sometimes you would like to know, you would like to process something, right? So before executing the method, you would like to check something. Then that time you can use method, right? Method execution. Before method execution, you would like to do something. Then it's better you can use before advice. Okay. So these are the real-time scenarios where we use AOP. But how can we implement Spring AOP? Right? How can we implement Spring AOP? Right? How can we implement Spring AOP? Let's see. Okay. So it's pretty easy, implementing Spring AOP is not that much complicated. Like, right, we wrote filters and all, right? So it won't be that much complicated. So now let's see before, right? Before how, I mean, every method execution, I want to do something like before, right? Before execution of every method, I would like to do something. So let's see how we can do that, right? So let's create a class called aspect. Okay. So let's call before aspect, right? Before method execution, right? Before method execution aspect. Yes, I will tell you why we name it as aspect. Okay, I'll tell you why. So let's annotate this with aspect. So that's why we are giving the name as aspect. That's why we are giving name as aspect. The dependency is not available. Okay, fine. Let's go to um, form.xml file and add this dependency. Maybe I think we need to um, add, then only it will work. Okay, let's add the dependency and save the file. Save the file. Now let's go to aspect class and do control space. Okay. Can you look at that import statement? Is it from Spring?
No.
No, it's
No.
from
Right? It's
aspect.
not from Spring. It's from third party, right? So who is the third party supporter? How can we know? Just put the control, select the control and click on this aspect. It will take you that actual implementation, right? Who is the owner? Let's expand the copyright, right? Who is the owner? Eclipse, right? So we are using Eclipse aspect, I mean AOP only. Spring also uses Eclipse aspect oriented programming only, but Spring will take control it, right? So Spring will say, okay, can you please do this before? Can you please do this when exception occur? Can you please do this when the method is done successfully, right? So Spring has the control, but Spring still internally using Eclipse aspect oriented programming only. So to give the control to the Spring, let's annotate with component. So it's a combination of Spring plus Eclipse, right? When we say Spring OOP, Spring doesn't, I mean, it won't waste its time to write its own API, right? AOP API. So Spring takes Eclipse API, whatever is there, let it there because it's working fine. Let's not waste our time doing the duplication work. Let's take it and let's do it in Spring, right? So let's give benefit of Spring to Eclipse aspect oriented program. So that is what is going to happen. So that is the reason why you see that import from aspect. So actual aspect oriented programming from Eclipse only, but we're going to do the things by using Spring. Okay. Yes. Now I would like to print some message, right? So what you would like to print some message? I would like to print public void. right? The prerequisite for this training is system.out.println. You must know Java, right? You must know Java. Yes. Okay. So this is what is my before, right? This is what I wanted to do before every method execution. So when you would like to do something, right? Actual logic, what you would like to do. So that is what is called advice, right? So we discuss, right? Before when there is an exception comes, right? When there is an exception comes, or when there is a successful, and when there is an exception or may exception or may not exception. So these things, right? So this is what is an actual thing we want to execute it. So that is what is called advice. So we have these many advices in Spring, not in, sorry, not in uh, aspect oriented programming. So the first one is before. So this will get executed before your method execution, right? This will get executed before your method execution. That's what is called before advice, right? Before advice, yes. So our requirement is before, so let's use before, right? So let's use at before. So this before is called advice, right? So this before is called advice. So how we have before, the same way we have after throwing, right? After throwing. So this is completely new terminology, new annotation. So you should spend some time to digest this naming convention, right? You need some time to digest this naming convention. But mostly like we are doing in Java, right? So the complete AOP written in Java, so it's easy. You can learn easy. Okay, so when there is an exception comes, you would like to do something, then you have to use at after throwing advice. When there is no exception and you are getting a response successfully, then you should use it after. I forget the name. Let me check the exact name. It after written, right? It's after written. I thought it's success. It's actually after return, right? After returning. So this executes when there is, if the method executes successfully, then only after return will it get executed. When method throws exception, then only that after throwing will get executed. Okay, but there are some cases may come, exception may come or may not come. That time you can use it after. So we call this as after finally. So usually the naming convention for it after is it's after only, right? It's after only, but we call that as after finally. Usually when you Google it, you the word is used for after is like after finally, like this works like at our Java finally block, right? So that's why people used to call that as after finally. Okay, so we have one more advice called around. It's like it's a combination of all above. It's a combination of before throwing, before returning, before after also. It's a combination of above four, right? So mostly in the real time we will use around only, mostly in the real time. But I but it's a project requirement. Some people would like to do before something after exception, but mostly the most commonly used advice is around advice, right? Most commonly used advice is around advice, but it doesn't mean that the above advices will not be used. No, not like that. Based on your requirement, you can use which one suitable for you, right? For us, now we would like to print something before, right? We would like to print something before, so that's why we are using before. So uh, how we are, I mean, how the priority we are giving for around. So we have to give for the remaining advisors also. But mostly we use around in the real time. Mostly we use around in the real time, but not like that. The remaining advisors also can be used based on the requirement. So when you would like to do something before, then you can use it before. When there is some exception comes, for example, last example, right? You would like to log only exceptions. Let's not use around. Let's use the corresponding advice. Let's use the corresponding advice. And when you would like to log the timing, right? Especially the timing. then around is suitable, right? So logging the method execution time. So the around is suitable. Most suitable is around. So we will,
Hello.
yeah.
So what you're saying is around means it will be called both before and after, whether it's throwing exception or not. It will
All
be called in both the places.
all your questions will be answered after this full training completes. Automatically you will come to know all the questions will be answered while we are discussing the topic. When I show example for around, then you will understand. Okay. Yeah, so
Okay.
today the Q&A will be at last. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so let's quickly complete this before and we will let everything. We will see each and every example. We will also see around. So you will come to know the difference between all these things, and we will implement today in our maybe not today, tomorrow we will implement each method, how much time it is taking in our mobile service API, mobile service. Okay. Yes. So this is what is advice. Okay. Advice is nothing but what has to be done, at what point it has to be done, right? At what point it has to be done is called advice. But advice cannot do anything, right? So advice alone cannot do anything. So we need a point cut, right? We need a point cut to get this advice work, because the point cut will tell for which methods this advice has to be executed, right? We are telling, okay, this has to be executed before, fine, but when this has to be executed before, right? You go and jump into any like bus. Usually the persons who travel in the bus might be knowing it. Okay. When you jump into the bus, they will ask you, right, to till where we should give the ticket, right? So you should, I mean, you're traveling, but where you should be dropping, right? So somewhere you should have to get it, right? So till be maybe the last station or in between some station you would like to get dropped. So the same kind of thing. So advice cannot do anything. So yes, this is before, but when this before method should be executed, for which method I should apply, right? For which method I should apply. So that decision is going to be taken care by point card, right? So it's going to be taken care by point cards. For example, I would like to execute this method for hello world, right? Yeah, for hello world, say hello method, only for say hello method, right? For hello worlds, only for say hello method. Then you should give the fully qualified name of the class, so which is the package name plus class name, dot which method, for which particular method you would like to execute this before, right? Which, for which particular method, you need to execute this method. So that particular decision is going to be taken care by point cut. So at before is advice, when this has to be executed, whether it has to be executed before or after throwing, after finally or around. So when this has to be executed, it's going to be taken care by advice. For what, for which method this has to be executed is going to be taken care by point cut. So advice, right? Advice is going to say when it has to execute. So point cut is going to say for what, right? So for what method you like to execute this advice, right? So aspect is a combination of all these things, right? Aspect is a combination of advice plus point cut. It's going to club that, right? So aspect is going to club that. So it's like a combination of all the features, right? So aspect is a global, right? Aspect is going to, it's a kind of global, and internally is going to have advice and point cut. Advice and point cut. If you write advice, nothing can happen until you join a point cut. Until you join a point cut. So point cut will say, okay, I want to execute this method for this method, right? For this method, but when, what time, before or after, right? Before or after. So that is going to be taken care. That particular decision is going to be taken care by advice. That particular decision is going to be taken care by advice. So there are so many types of point cuts are available in the market, right? So there are so many types. So let me go to the documentation. AOP concepts, capabilities, aspects. Yeah. So let's go to example like point cut, right? So there are so many ways you can configure point cuts. There are so many ways. Okay. So let's start with one, execution. The most commonly used point cut is execution. So you should say execution, execute this advice, right? It's if you frame a word, right? So if you frame a phrase, so you say that execute this advice for this method, right? Execute this before advice, execute before advice for this method. So that is what is a point cut, right? So what is a point cut? Execute this method, this advice before advice for this method, right? Now let's go to your AOP code, remove all this, right? All this and call only say hello, only call say hello automatically, right? So now your aspect is going to execute this prerequisite method, execute this prerequisite method. Just before executing this, say hello. Just before executing that, say hello, right? Let's run the code. Now say hello doesn't have any Java, right? So it doesn't have any Java. Good. There is some exception came. Fine. We will look into it. Point cut is not well formed. Name pattern, character position. Okay, I think there is something wrong with this. Execution, IO Spring MSK, say hello. Okay, fine. Don't worry, we no need to remember all these things. There are good amount of examples are available, right? Good amount of examples are available. Yes. So the point cut should start with a star. So that is what is missing here, right? So put a star. First of all, it should start with a star space followed by that method, class and method. Okay. Yes. So you don't need to remember the star execution and all. Good amount of examples are available. We will run each and every example, right? Every example they mentioned in the documentation. Okay. So tomorrow when you would like to use, so you don't need to remember all these regular expressions, right? You don't need to remember all these regular expressions. So go to this example section. For sure, your requirement will fit in with any one of these examples. Okay. Yeah. Now let's go and see that prerequisite method is getting executed, right? You must know Java, right? You must know Java. So to make you confirm, I'll add one more system, right? So you must know Java. I'll say welcome to Spring, and I say you must know Java. So let's run the code. Now you see that two messages will be printed before executing our say hello. Before executing our say hello method, two messages. So the big benefit what we're gonna get, right? The big benefit what we're gonna get is if we are not changing our business logic method, right? So we are not changing our business logic method. So we are separately maintaining. Right? So this entire concept is called cross cutting, right? So this entire concept is called cross cutting concept, right? So we would like to do some cross cutting, right? So actual main method is going to execute this hey hello method. So in between we will cross cut something, right? So in between we will cross cut something. So this entire functionality is called cross cutting. So we are actually, what is the benefit we are going to get? So we are separating our cross cutting logic from our business logic, right? So from our business logic. So tomorrow if you would like to suppress, right? If you would like to stop this, then you can do it, right? So you can do it. We can do it very easily, right? So you can do it very easily. So that is what is the benefit we are going to get whenever we are using aspect oriented programming. Okay, good. So for one method it's working fine, right? For one method it's working fine. If I call another method, right, it won't work because we hard code it, right? For now our before advice is point cut has only say hello. So when you call say hello one, your point cut will not be executed. So point cuts are regular expression supportable. You can configure, right? So let's do star hello world dot star. So it's going to execute. So this before advice is going to execute for every method which is there in hello world class, right? So regular expression support is available. Regular expression support is available. So by using that regular expression, we can configure, right? We can configure your point cut, your aspect, or else your cross-cutting code can be executed, right, for multiple methods. Now let's go and call hello method, say hello method, and say hello one method, right? So let's call multiple methods. You see, let's give a line break, right? So let's give a line break. Now you see our cross cutting, right? Our point cut is going to execute for both the methods, right? A simple star is going to play a major role, right? So it's full of regular expression, for full of regular expression. So now you can call another method, right? We have say hello to, oh, I think I'm calling say hello one for 2 times. Let's call say hello and call say hello two also. You would have been saying whenever I'm going to run the program, you are calling the same method, right? Let's try with a different method and see whether it's supporting or not. Right, you see, we are calling say hello one, say hello two, whatever it is, right? It is whatever it is, right? The method name can no need to be say hello. It can be any method. It can be any method. So for every method which is present in the say hello world, so what is the star meant to be? Any method, any method. For example, you want to execute a method which is starting with say hello, then you can also say hello star, right? Say hello star. So the method which is starting with say hello will get executed. If you would like to execute a method ending with some function, then you can say, right, star function. So it is going to execute. So the method which is ending with function, right? And you would like to execute something for getter methods, so then get star, right? You would like to execute for setter methods, set star, right? Set star, get star, right? Every method, if you would like to execute for every method, then use star. Okay, that's fine. Any doubts, any questions here with respect to this, whatever we discussed?
And no questions.
Okay, now I'll do one thing. I'll go to my say hello and I will pass some argument. Okay, I'll pass some argument. Now tell me, will my point cut cover this? Now my method is taking some argument. Yeah, while calling this method, we should pass some argument, right? So let's call only say hello. Let's call only say hello. Can someone say, will my point cut works? Is my point cut going to execute?
No.
I said
No.
start, it's going to execute for everybody, everything, right? But I made a small change. I added a point. I am passing some parameter, right? I am passing some parameter.
I think no. In the brace, we need to pass star, I guess.
For all. If for some it will work, not for all.
Only for methods without parameters it will work. If
Yes.
there is a parameter, we have to give something there inside that.
Star.
Yes, right. So
Yeah.
right. So we are not specifying in this parenthesis. Everybody is right? Yeah. So until you specify what parameter you are going to allow, right? So your method will not get execute this point, right? So so your method is taking some parameter and you are not specifying that. So the things will not work, right? The things will not work. So to make it work, to give support to the method which is taking arguments, you should add dot, right? Dot. So you can pass any number of parameters, 1, 2, 3, 10, fine, right? 1, 2, 3, 10 is fine. So you should say dot. So from now onwards, 0 or n number of, right? We have whereas by looking into this feature, I thought they would have given one more dot. So Java whereas, right? So three dots. So at least we have such a kind of comparison. But in AOP it's 2 dots. In Java whereas it's 3 dots. I hope you know Java. What is Java whereas, right?
Yes.
Not 0 or n number of parameters. Same concept here. the method can take 0 or n number of parameters. So our AOP is going to support. Now let's go ahead and run without dot dots. Let's run. So you see our point cut will not get executed. Point cut or advice. So it's a combination of two. Then only it will execute, right? Now you see that is not covered. That is not covered. Now let's go to the point cut declaration and do a dot dot. You see that a method is going to execute now for everything. Okay, it will start executing method taking parameter, without taking parameter, it will cover everything. Okay, so last time it won't execute for say hello, right? If I don't put data, so the say hello, right, will not get benefit of AOP, right? Aspect won't get executed, but when you say dot dot, it will cover everything, right? It will be covered. It will be covering forever. Okay, so this is for before, right? We are doing something before, but now let's go to say hello and throw some exception, right? Let's throw some exception. I'm just showing this. I mean, manually we are throwing exception, but in the real time you get some exception, right? Yes, we don't throw, we will get some scenario based. Mobile not found, you throw some exception, right? So tomorrow all of a sudden your manager asked you, can you please pull the reports where how many mobile not found requests are coming, how many IDs, different IDs we are getting, can you please get the count? Then you should write, right? That is what is the requirement, right? When there is an exception comes, so when the mobile not found exception comes, when method throws mobile not found exception, when method throws mobile not found exception, so that time you should do something, logging or putting into table or logging into something, right? So let's throw some exception now, right? Exception. So this is for our learning purpose we are throwing. Okay, test exception. Yeah, we can throw runtime exception. Okay, we are returning something, right? Okay, let's do one thing. String message. Okay, string message equals to this. If okay, argument not equals to null. If argument is not equals to null, then only you just return this message, right? You just let's return the message. If argument is null, then let's throw the exception, right? If the argument is null, let's throw the exception. So your before advice is going to execute before your method execution, right? So if you would like to do something when there is an exception comes, if you would like to do something when there is an exception comes, so your before advice is not suitable for that requirement, right? So before will get executed, just before method execution. Once the method execution process starts, right? When the method execution processing starts, we cannot do anything with before, right? We cannot do anything with before. So when you would like to do something when a method throws an exception, when you would like to do something when a method throws some exception, then you should use yet after throwing, right? So yet after throwing, and you should configure the point cut, right? You should configure the point cut. There is no other way. Advice cannot execute it until you configure the point cut, until you say where you are going to get down, right? The ticket, the bus conductor will not give you the ticket. Let's go to any ticket vending place, right? You go to railway station, or you go to airport, you go to any automatic ticket vending machine. You should say where you are going to get down, right? Until you say that, until you say what is your destination, right? What is your destination, right? You cannot provide the ticket, right? You cannot provide the ticket. So the same thing is here, right? So the same thing is here. So you must add point cut, right? You must add point cut until you say where this advice has to be executed. Your advice will not be executed. So that has to be configured, right? So public void. So you say handle, it's not handle exception, it's like log exception, right? So when there is an exception comes, you can say log the exception, right? So log the exception, and you can say, okay, bro, the own exception. Report it. Okay, so there is some exception came, so we will report it, right? Yes, but this will get executed when there is an exception. This after throwing will get executed only when there is an exception occur. For example, say hello, we are going to get exception if we don't pass argument. If you pass argument as null, you will get exception. Fine. If you don't, if you pass some value, you will not get exception, right? So let's go and see. Let's test the positive scenario. Let's pass something. So no exception this time. So after throwing will not be executed. After throwing will not be executed. So you got right. So there is some success scenario, right? Success scenario. So no exception. So no after throwing will not get executed. Now let's go and pass a null instead of passing some value, let's pass null. So we are passing argument as null. Yes. So not null condition. So this return message won't get executed. So argument is null. We are going to get exception. We are going to get exception. So we don't do the exception handling here. We don't do the exception handling. No, that is not going to happen. So we are going to do something with that exception, right? So when there is a method for some exception, we are going to do something. So you can log that exception for reporting purpose, or you can email that exception for team to check what is the issue, right? So you can do something, but you cannot handle the exception, right? So the exception handling cannot happen by using around throwing. So now let's run the code. You still see that exception stack trace printed on the console, but add as an add-on, right? Exception, yeah, along with exception, you see that, right? So the message also is going to print. Okay, bro, you thrown exception, I will report it, right? So some you can do some alert, but you cannot control the exception. You cannot control the exception. So along with that, along with just simply saying the message, you can also have some control, right? You can also get the exception which is thrown by that method, right? So what is the exception it's thrown and what is the message? Yes, you can come to know. So how can you know that? So by using throwing, right? By using throwing, and here you need to assign it the throwing to ex. When there is an exception comes, right? When there is an exception comes, so this is going to, that exception object is going to assign to this variable. Exception is object is going to assign to that variable. So you can do some detail logging, right? So you can get that exception, right? Exception message or something, or else if the exception is not null, obviously when there is an exception thrown, then only after throwing is going to get executed. After throwing is going to get executed. So what you can do, you can get the stack trace, right? So you can get stack trace. Actually, this print stack trace method is void, right? So the return type of the print stack trace is void, right? So how can we get the methods that exception stack trace? So to get that, you should do string writer sw equals to new string writer. Okay, print writer pw equals to new print writer. Okay, let's pass this sw, and you can call sw dot toString, right? Sw dot toString. I think this exception has to be um, given here, so you will get the exception stack trace.
Exception you need to pass in print writer, I think.
Not sure, I forgot that part. Okay, it's not allowed, right?
Not I think.
SW has to be given to this, and you should do um, ex dot print stack trace SW. Yes, print stack trace PW. PW. Yes. Now you can call SW dot toString. You will get
Yes, yes.
exception track trace, right? String stack trace. Now you can get the stack trace. So you can log the exception track trace also. Whenever you are sending an email, right? So you say that, hey, there is an exception. Can you please check? Then immediately you will reply to that mail within fraction of second. What is the track trace? Can you please share more? Right? So before getting that second email, you itself start sending the stack, right? So you say, hey, this is the exception we got, and here are the details, right? Here are the stack trace. Can you please go through the stack trace and can you please go through the stack trace and just check the issue, right? So let's when there is an exception comes, right? So let's wrap with the try catch and print only a simple message, right? So the actual stack trace we are going to get from our aspect, right? So you're gonna get exception and here I don't print the complete stack trace. I simply say e dot get message. I simply say e dot get message. Right? In code you might suppress some exception, right? You might suppress the exception, but your team lead or some your team member configure the AOP, right? Can configure the AOP and you will report you that exception, right? So its own test exception is the message we are doing it. So this entire stack trace is getting printed on aspect, right? So by using aspect you can report it, right? You can report exceptions and all. Okay, but sometimes you would like to do when a method executes successfully, right? So when the method executes successfully, you would like to do something, so that is going to be handled, right? So that is going to be handled by after returning, right? So after returning, so it's the same story again after returning. Yes, so it's let's copy paste this pointer. Let's copy paste this pointer. Yes, so what you can do, you can say public void, right? Public void mm, method executed, right? Method executed successfully, right? So method executed successfully. Yes, so this statement is going to be print, right? So this statement is going to print when the method executed successfully. So after throwing will execute when method get exception, right? So on successful scenario, after throwing won't get executed. On error scenario, after returning won't get executed, right? So these two will never execute at same time. Okay, so successful execution, yes, this won't get executed. On error scenario, after returning won't get executed. Okay, hey, congrats, your right, so your method is executed successfully, right? So your method is executed successfully. Good. Now let's go to AOP. Let's go to AOP and main application. You run this. You get exception. So after returning will not get executed, right? So after return, so no hey bro, right? Hey, your method executed successfully. That's not going to happen. Let's some value. Let's pass some value. Let's if you don't pass null, your method will get executed successfully, right? Your method will get executed successfully this time, right? So this time you will get, right, that success message completed, right? So it's a success completed successfully. So after throwing will not get executed. So if you would like to get some idea, right? If you would like to get some idea, what is your this thing, right? So if you return this thing, right? If you return, if you would like to have control on the return type, right? So that is possible. So on the after return, okay. So you can get that returned object by using returning parameter, right? So Yeah, so this is going to be your object, right? We don't know what is the return is going to happen, right? So let's return that object, right? Once you get the object, let's return the object. Okay, so you can get some control on the return type also, right? So what is the data is written, if you would like to know, you can still have some control on the return also. Okay, but instead of writing two separately, after throwing or after returning, I wanted to process something all the time, right? Like a finally block, irrespective of exception thrown or not thrown. So that requirement can be achieved by using at after, right? At after. So it's actually sounds at after, but people usually call it as after finally, right? So the documentation itself is saying, right, after finally. So it's more convenient for Java people, right? So finally block. So this will get executed all the time, right? So this will get executed all the time with exception or without exception, right? With exception or without exception. So yes, so there is no guarantee that object will come or not come. So that's why you cannot pass any parameter, right? So the parameter cannot be passed. You see, there are no extra attributes also, right? So there are no extra attributes also. So we cannot pass any objects. So the method, right, method return type should be, right, return type should be void. And I can say, okay, okay, congrats, right? So I can say it's not congrats because I cannot guarantee that, right? So for sure, this statement will get printed. Right? So you call any method, for sure this statement will be printed. Let's give some beautification. Let's add some line space. Yeah. On successful scenario, the after return is going to get executed. On error scenario, after throwing will get executed. Before will get executed all the time, and after also will get executed all the time. So let's run this code. So this is the success scenario. You see before, success, and after. You see three will be printed here, right? Before must know Java, right? Before must know Java. Then for sure this will be printed. For sure this will be printed. Congrats, your method executed successfully. Finally the output, right? So and now let's pass the null. You see that success scenario won't be executed. Success scenario won't be executed. So let's pass null. You see that error, right? After throwing will be getting executed. After throwing will be getting executed, right? Yes. So before, for sure, with the error, without error, for sure this method will this statement will be printed, followed by some exception, right? Hey bro, you throw some exception, I will do, right? So this is what is a flow. So this is what is a complete flow. Okay. Yes. So this is all about before, after throwing, after returning. Okay. So instead of doing these things bits and pieces, right? Instead of doing these things bits and pieces. So if I would like to, instead of writing all these things, if your requirement is all these, right? Before, after, or any one of these two, instead of writing multiple advisors, you can write only one advice, right? You can write only one advice. So it's like a kind of entry pass, right? Combo ticket. You can go ahead and do whatever you would like to do, right? So let's do right around, right? Around, but no exception. Still, you need to configure the point cut. Without point cut, your this advice, like no value of writing that advice, right? So no value of writing that advice. So the public your around advice must return something, right? So it must return something. So let's give object, right? So we don't know what we're going to return. So the method is going to return what type, we don't know. So yeah. So okay, but before that, I would like to cover one more topic, right? So we learned about aspect. Okay, we learned about aspect, and we learned about advice. We also learned about point cut, right? Point cut. So what is the point cut? So this is going to take the decision when the advice will get executed. Yes. But let's go to this method, right? So let's go to one. Let's select one. Right? Let's start with before. Okay. Yes. So let's start with before. So here, if I would like to print some information about method, right? For example, what is the method I am going to execute? What is the method I am going to execute? Okay. How can we do that? Okay. So anything if you would like to get some metadata information about this advice, what is going to do and what method is going to execute, right? So that metadata can be passed by using join point. Okay, it's a join point. So this is a predefined entity. You don't need to do anything. You just pass that as an argument. So there are few predefined methods are available. By using those predefined methods, you can come to know, right? So there is some metadata is already available. So what is the signature? What is the signature of the method? It's going to get executed. And if the method is taking any argument, and this method is present on which class, is this method present on which class, right? Whether it is a static method or not, whether it is a static method or not, whether it is the current object or not, whether it is a current are we doing the current object or not, or else it's a different object, right? So there is huge information is available. Let's print the method signature, right? So let's print the method signature. Let's select two long string, right? So let's print two long string. So by using this, you can print some information, right? So what method is getting executed, right, at this point of time, right? So usually AOP is can be configured globally, right? For every method in this class, in this package, in our application, like that we will configure. Usually the AOP is configured like globally. So at the time of configuring globally, if you would like to print some information, for example, you are doing a method execution time logging, right? So you must say for which method the time it took, right? So for which method, like this much time it took, right? So you should take this join pointer signature. So it's already available, right? So let's go ahead and run. This time you will see that the method name also is going to print. Okay, the method name is going to print. So whenever you would like to process some logging, right? Time logging and something exception and something. So you can use this join point. So that is the fourth concept, right? So AOP is majorly four concepts. One is aspect, which is a combination. It's like entity which is going to have advice, point cut, and join point. Advice, point cut, and join point. So yeah, so you can say aspect is a combination of all three. Okay, aspect is a combination of advice plus point cut plus join. Yes. So each and every these sub entities have its own functionality, right? So advice is going to say when this method that advice has to, I mean, when that advice has to execute, whether it's a before or after throwing or after returning, after or around. Okay. Yes. Point cut will take the decision when this advice has to get executed, for what method, right? For what signature it has to match, right? So join point is some extra information it's going to give, right? So the class information, method information, arguments information, right? So there is some extra information will be given. So by using that extra information, you can make your aspect more powerful, right? Your aspect component more powerful. Okay. So that is all about this predefined aspect functionality, right? Aspect is a combination of all three: advice, point cut, and join. Advice say when it has to get executed, before, after, or after throwing, after returning. Point for what it has to execute, for what method we need to execute this. Okay. Join point will give more features, right? What is the method you are executing, what arguments it can take, and what is the class this method is present, right? Like that you can make your aspect keys more powerful, right? Now let's jump into around, right? Let's jump into around. Why I cover this join point? Because around, when you are declaring whenever we are declaring around aspect, you must pass one argument, right? So method name can be anything. So let's log the time. Let's log execution time. Okay. Yes. And whenever you declare around, right, you must pass one parameter. What is that? Proceeding join point. Okay. Proceeding join point. So PJP is proceeding join point. Yes. So you have to call PJP dot proceed, right? You must call PJP dot proceed. So what will happen? Your actual method will be getting executed. So it throws some exception. So you must wrap with try catch, right? You must wrap with try catch, right? So whatever you gonna write, whatever the code you gonna write, so that is going to be before. It's going to be before. So before calling pjp.proceed, like our something like our filter, right? Filter. So before calling filter chain dot do processing, filter chain dot do processing, that is going to be pre-processing. After calling that filter dot do processing, that is our post processing. So this is your before and this is your after, right? So this is your after. Yes. So when there is an exception comes inside catch block, whatever you're gonna write, it's your after throw. Yes. So just before your method execution completes, you have to return the object, right? You have to return the object. So what you should do, you should return, right? So when there is an exception comes, you can throw that exception back, you can log and you can throw that exception, right? So yes. So this is after throwing, right? This is after throwing. Yeah, let's convert this into runtime exception, right? New runtime exception. Yes. So this catch block is a after throwing, and whatever you're going to return here, it's a combination of after return or let's make it after return. Okay, after return, and this is your before. This is your before. Let's add proper statements just before. Okay, just before executing method. Just before executing method. So just before executing method, what should we do? We should get the start time, right? We should get the start time. So long start time equals to system dot current time in millis. Yes. So before returning your object, so what should we do? System dot, instead of out, let's print it in error mode and say total time taken to execute method, right? So the total time taken to the execute method is current time, right? So system dot current time in millis minus start, right? So current time in millis minus start time, and let's say since we are logging in milliseconds, right? So we are logging in milliseconds, right? So milliseconds. Yes. So this around advice is going to execute for every method call, and it's going to log the time, right? It's going to log the time. If there is some exception comes, right? When there is an exception comes, so here you need to log, right? So here you need to log this exception into Kafka streaming or RabbitMQ streaming, or you can email, right? So log exception for future workers, okay? Log exception for future analysis. Okay, future analysis purpose. Right. So this works fine. Now let's go to your this thing and let's remove the try catch. Okay. Let's call couple of methods. Right. Let's call couple of methods. Let's call say hello. say hello, and say hello one. Let's say hello one. So let's pass some meaningful. So let's pass some value. Okay, and let's call say hello one, say hello two, right? So every method call, let's give some gap. For every method call, let's give some gap. Yes, and in your advice also, aspect also, just yeah, print statement and log the time and just give some line gap, right? So let's give some line. Let's run the code. You see, for every method, how much time it is taking, you will come to know, right? In milliseconds. Okay. So the first method completed in 36 milliseconds, second method completed in 1 millisecond, third method is completed in 0 seconds, right? The third method is completed in 0 seconds. Yes. Okay. So now let's go and say, right? So here we are not specifying for which method take what time, right? So we are not telling. So it's a generic method, right? So it's a generic method. So now let's go to say hello to method. Say hello to. Why we are getting a null? Okay, we are returning this say hello string. Okay. Uh, I think the problem in our AOP. Yeah. So we are not assigning, right? So we are executing, but we are not assigning. That's why that return null is printing. And let's read on the code. Now you see that a message will be printed. Right, so the total time execution for the first one is 21 seconds, and the second one is 0 seconds and 0 milliseconds, right? So, but we are not saying, right, how much method which took how much time, right? So we are not saying how much method took how much time. So what should we do? So it's better to log the method name, right? So execute method. So just before that, let's log the method name. So how can we get the method name? String method, right? String method name. Just now we saw the point cut, right? So proceeding join point is a child of point cut. So this one also will have that method. So get signature dot get sorry, two short name like that you can, right? Two short name. So this method name can be printed here, right? So instead of saying simply method, total time execute, total time taken to execute method, let's give the method name, right? Method name, and let's give some time, right? So let's give time. Method name. Let's say the time. Let's run the code. You will come to know each method how much time it took. This time. Right, so say hello 0 argument to 39 seconds, say hello 1 to 1 millisecond, say hello 2 to 2 milliseconds, right? So actually it is some little time consuming process. AOP is costly. Instead of calling the raw method, if you implement AOP is costly. So that's why don't implement AOP unwantedly, especially in the production environment. Especially in the production environment, it's fine. I mean, it's okay if it is just logging, right? 1 second, 1 millisecond, 2 millisecond, it's okay. But don't write unwanted code, right? Unwantedly don't implement any logic because it's costly. And especially in production, let's not implement other than logging. Exception you can do, because when exception is costly, right? So exception is costly, so we can do an we can implement multi-threading in the AOP. So we can give the job, right? So we can write a completable feature, supply async, and log the message in the DB, or log the message in the Kafka stream, or log the message in the Kibana or somewhere. So that can be done, right? So that can be done asynchronously. So the things can be done asynchronously. So let's not implement AOP synchronously, because that increase the response time. So unwantedly, we are going to get timeouts, right? So unwantedly, let's not implement AOP. AOP is costly because it's going to do the things, right, dynamically. It has to create some proxies. So obviously it is some costly concept. So let's not do implement unwantedly. So in production, you can do it for some analytics purpose. It's fine. Okay, but do it asynchronously, right? Whatever you do, it's fine, but let's do it asynchronously. That is what is important. Okay, let's do it asynchronously. So if it is some logging and all, it won't take it won't take more than milliseconds, right? So it will be completed very, very fast manner. So fine. So logging is fine because it will be like in nanoseconds, the things will be complete. Okay, so this is all about AOP. So we have a couple of examples for this point touch. So for example, if you would like to configure for public methods, setting methods, and like for a package, sub package, right? And how the very important thing is sometimes we will write annotations, right? AOP can be done through annotations also. How we can log, by writing some custom annotations. So that is part, I mean, that part is pending. So we can learn that tomorrow. So we will close AOP tomorrow for sure. Okay. So, and we will implement AOP, right? So time logging for each method execution in our mobile service. Okay.
Okay. Sunil, one thing just I want to ask, like, is there any way, like we want to see the method execution performance? So any way to log these in some table or something, like, because sometime for analysis and all, right, we need to check like how much time method is taking and all. So is there any way to log these in table or any tool which can be integrated with microservices, which can tell like this particular method is taking this much time, like day wise report or something, just
Yeah,
to.
there are so many tools are available, Anshuman. Okay, there are so many tools like Kibana, right? Elasticsearch, Kibana, like Grafana, and New Relic. New Relic is such a powerful tool, right? It's inbuilt, so it's automatically log each method how much time. Okay, so like that, there are so many tools are there, but that configuration is not at code level. So you just pass New Relic object, so it will automatically shows that. So for now, what you can do, you can create completable feature supply async, right? So this string you prepare this string time, right, or its execution time. So you create supply async completable feature supply async, and you can log it asynchronously into our MySQL table, right? So you can do completable feature supply async and inject JDBC template. So JDBC template dot update we have, right? Insert query you can do it.
Okay.
So later you can write a tool to look, perform. I mean, pull the reports from that table, and you can generate some report manually.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
But
that's what.
microservices we don't do like that. We use New Relic, Grafana, Elasticsearch, and Kibana. But anyway, those and all. I mean, we don't do it code level, right? So it's like automatically. I will show one example.
Yeah, because some no, even to those tools, right, we need to provide data, right? So that
No,
data,
not
no.
required. Not required. So automatically the data will be taken from logging file. You just log, it's fine.
Okay.
It does all the analysis on that logs, and it will automatically.
Can you just show in Kibana once, like if you get.
One example we have. Okay, I will
Okay.
show. We will log our logs into Kibana in our microservices. That is part of microservices concept. Once we jump into the microservices, a concept called centralized logging. So we will run multiple microservices. So we will take all the logs and put it into Kibana, and we go to Kibana and
Yes.
just see the logs in the Kibana.
Yeah, because actually there is one requirement where we are logging the time, but like in logs only we are logging, so we need to see from Kibana how to get that particular time query, like passing a string, right? So want to see like what is the time that particular method is taking. So that's why I was just trying to see like how we can do in Kibana. At least just to pull the report like how much time it's taking.
Yeah, we have that concept, right? It's part of our training. We will log the details into Kibana. Yes.
Because it's very difficult to always go into log and search it. So, no,
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
I got my point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Anushma. Any other questions?
New Relic, I will check Sunil once how it works. That also I see somewhere it was used. Let me also check.
Yeah, sure, Anushma. Yeah.